This is Foxhangers Wharf, which is home to Foxhangers Canal holidays. You can hire a narrowboat here on the Kennet and Avon Canal. You can go that away, which is west towards Bath and Bristol, or you can go east and go up the Caen Hill Locks, which is what we're here to see today, the Caen Hill Locks. We're going to talk all about that. We're going to find out all sorts of things about the locks, a bit about their history and everything else. Foxhangers Canal holidays have a fleet of, I believe, about 18 boats, narrowboats. And they're great holidays. If you haven't tried it, you must give it a go. It's a nice, slow, easy pace of life, and you get to see everything because you're going so slowly. When you're whizzing by in a car, you miss it all. You want to relax and have a week or 2 weeks or even longer, take a canal holiday. Absolutely recommend it from the bottom of our hearts. They make all of their own boats. They have their own boat workshop around here, and they build them from a shell and fit them out fully, and they're really great inside. They do some work as well for other boat users, engine work, welding, some metal fabrication and so on. Have a look at their website, and we'll put that in the description. We're here in Foxhangers is also the site of the back pump, which pumps water all the way back up to the top of the locks. We're going to talk about that too. This is the back pumping station at Caen Hill. More specifically, it's the building that holds it all. Inside here there are two 250 kilowatt pumps that can push about 8 million gallons of water per day right back up to the top. It does about a whole lock full every 11 minutes. That's a huge amount of water. But when you consider that it takes about 10 minutes to go through a lock, and on a busy day, the boats could be back to back or quite close, it's got to do that. It's also got to take into account leaky gates and leaky bits of canal and everything else. So 11 minutes for a lock full, it's about right on target, isn't it? In the winter it doesn't have to work so hard. This was opened in 1996 by the MP Sir Anthony Durant, and he was president of the Kennet and Avon Canal Trust. Try and imagine two 250 kilowatt pumps, and you can hear them. You can hear them working through the brickwork. I don't know if you can pick that up on the microphone. So this is what they sound like. I'm not sure that was a really good imitation, but you're not here to argue the point, so just take it from me. That's what they sound like. Honestly. My wife says I'm a good pump. Shall we go and see some more of Caen Hill Locks? In 1718, construction began on what was to become the Kennet and Avon Canal, underneath the engineer of John Hoare. The intention was to make the River Kennet navigable from Newbury to Reading. The Kennet navigation, as it became known, opening in 1723 to quite a bit of local opposition due to lost land and so on. John Hoare also supervised the installation of 6 locks at the other end of what was to become the Kennet and Avon Canal, and those locks were between Bristol and Bath on the River Avon. Between those two navigations, the gap had to be closed in order for there to be a successful route for the transport of cargo between Bristol and London and the towns between. Engineers Barnes, Simcock and Weston proposed a route that would have taken the canal through Marlborough, Chippenham, Caen and Melksham. However, water supply was an issue, and in 1793 John Rennie altered the route further south through Devizes, Trowbridge and Newbury, and in 1794 royal assent was granted and finally work could begin. Caen Hill locks were designed and engineered by John Rennie and was the final part of the 87-mile of Kennet and Avon navigation, later to be known as the Kennet and Avon Canal. 1801 to 1810, the final section, the locks were completed. Boat traffic from Bristol to London could now commence in both directions. The Kennet and Avon Canal was the equivalent to a motorway moving east to west and allowing about 60-ton barges to travel between Bristol and Bath in the west to Newbury, Reading and London in the east. Doesn't matter whether you're going to be taking a boat out for a holiday or whether you choose to liveaboard one full time. It's a lovely way of life, it really is. Every day you have a new front garden. So there are 4 bridges on the Caen Hill locks, and they're at locks 22, 28, 47 and 50, basically one end to the other. Originally, these horse tunnels here were built for the horse-drawn tramway that transported cargoes from the... Hello, you looking for work? Disappear or we'll turn you into glue. They would transport cargoes from the bottom of the locks right the way to the tops until this section of the canal was finished. It's either kids or dogs or loud radios, but sometimes it's horses. Anyway, the main flight of the Caen Hill locks, the 16 really steep locks, are close together, and this meant that you couldn't have big pounds between. So they built these big side pans, and they really are monsters. We saw a pike in this one earlier on, thrashing away at a school of fish. Made me jump, but it made the fish jump too. But the side pans, which are 75, 80 metres wide, same depth as the canal, more or less, I would think, help to supply water for the day-to-day use of the canal. And these were built way before the pump at the bottom was. There isn't much water contribution into the canal. If you go up between locks 54 and 55, Cradley Lock I think it is, the River Avon supplies some water, but it's pretty small at that point and doesn't supply enough. For the construction, John Rennie appointed John Blackwell as his site agent, and it was he who oversaw the lock's construction. Back then, John Blackwell was paid an annual salary of £300. Oh, and another £50 expenses for his horse. When the flight of locks opened in 1810, barges were able to navigate from Bristol to Reading and then on to London. In the first 30 years of operation, traffic continued to grow. So much so that the lock flight became so busy between 1824 and 1843, it was lit at night by gas lights. Boats laden with cargo were navigating day and night, and those at night were paying an extra shilling for tolls. From 1824 to 1839, the canal generated over £42,000 with a dividend of 3%. However, when the Great Western Railway opened in 1841, traffic on the canal began to decline. In 1852, the railway company took control and raised the tolls. Corners had to be cut, and in 1857, ice breaking on the canal stopped. Night traffic was stopped in 1861. By 1865, to reduce water loss, boats were forced to go through the locks at 2 at a time. In a little bit of irony, the canal company made much of its profit in the 1830s transporting the materials that were used to build the railway. The last cargo through the flight of locks was a consignment of grain from Avonmouth to Newbury in October 1948. A few years later, and after considerable campaigning, the restoration of the Kennet and Avon Canal was started, and the Kennet and Avon Canal Trust was formed. And then over the following decades, the Kennet and Avon Canal and the Caen Hill locks were restored to the splendid condition that they are in today. So we hope you've enjoyed our video on Caen Hill locks. We've got a misbehaving horse. If you have, please hit the subscribe button below and the like button, and it'll tell you when we're putting new videos up. We're new to this. This is very early on from us. We've got some new kit. We're starting to make better quality videos, better sound. So please come again and watch us. You've enjoyed it, haven't you, Karen? And next time we'll get a bigger part rather than just horsing around. Would you like that?
I like the horsing about better.
Oh yes, okay then. Right, so we could turn you into glue. So please come back and watch us again. Thanks for watching. Bye.